Good morning, everybody. Here we are, Sarah's sofa session on a Sunday morning. I'm here in Fareham Quay, actually, Fareham Marina, and it's a beautiful morning, and I'm here with lovely Lorraine. Thank you, Lorraine, for joining me. Campers of Distinction, you will find out a lot more, and this session is called Pain and Profits. So I'm not going to carry on chatting. I'm going to hand over with a few questions for Lorraine. Hi, Lorraine.
Hi, good morning.
Thank you very much.
Oh, you're very
We
welcome.
are in Dora, and Lorraine is going to explain who Dora is and what she does, and we will go from there. It's absolutely beautiful in here. It's a 1970s VW camper van. That's all I'm going to say. Now we're going to chat to you. I'm going to talk to you about starting Dora, starting Campers of Distinction. It's pain to profit. You said you had some pains in the beginning. Can you explain what's your business, why have you decided to go into business?
The why, I think, was my first unknowing part of business. When I started to look at what are business models and how do you perform in business, I had no clue. Both me and the background part of Campers of Distinction, Mr. Campers of Distinction, both come from a very totally different background. Both policing, 30 years, 23 years.
Oh, very structured then.
Very structured and very rigid, very rules following. So we knew there was an element of that we needed to bring into what we wanted to do, but it was the why, and I thought I struggled with it to start with.
Yeah.
Because I was reading too much about business and too much corporate stuff, and I thought,
totally
no, that's not what we want to do.
With all the jargon and
Absolutely.
all the lovely stuff out there, which we all know about, don't we?
It was crazy, and then I kept getting this, but what's your why? What's your why? So actually my why was, I couldn't find a camper van to hire for myself with an automatic gearbox, and I wanted for Jeff and I just to be able to hire a van with an auto, because I can't drive a manual because of my injury. And couldn't find one locally. I think the nearest one was somewhere near the Midlands, and that defeats the object somewhat. I have bugged Mr. Campers for 20 years for a camper van of our own. We came back from New Zealand having hired one out there, which was an automatic.
Did you have to go all the way to New Zealand to get an automatic?
We did. You've got to put yourself into these things if you're going to go for it. So, fortunately, we hugely adore New Zealand and are hugely missing it. But whilst we were there on our last trip, we went for it and did a huge part of the South Island to the North Island, and adored it. So he then had to sort of put his money where his mouth was and say, okay, let's look at it in the UK, but let's look at it as a business, because we know the why is to fulfil potentially what we needed, which was a comfortable drive with a great setup, something you could just go away in on your weekends, or if you've got that quick midweek opportunity. Easy to drive, but fundamentally, if you needed it to be an automatic, it was there for you. And I know if you drive a manual, sometimes it's not a problem. But
it's actually a problem going from manual to automatic.
As we found out,
there's a funny little story. I nearly put Jeff through the windscreen when I first got into Lorraine's other beautiful camper van, which we will talk about too.
He doesn't mention it much.
Never mind. He's safe and he's well, everyone.
But he gave us a good lesson.
It did.
In so much as even when people say they know how to drive an auto, we're going to run through.
They don't believe them anymore.
No, we don't. So the outcome of that was that we now do actually test everybody else before they leave, just so they can drive. So after that, we Jeff then went on his own little mission of looking for said camper van. Did it exist? A bit like looking for a house when you kind of put down what you want.
Oh, painful.
Yeah, it was. That was the first pain. Does what we want actually exist out there? And he found it in Leicester.
Oh, wow.
So we went up to see this beautiful VW T6 model for those that want their model versions, and automatic. The only thing it's not got, which you may have found on your hire, was cruise control, but pretty much everything else.
Oh, I cruised anywhere. It was the most incredible ride. I had that van for about 5 days down to Cornwall.
And he is just such a beautiful driver.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And everybody has said that in the last 2 years.
Yeah, fabulous.
So that was November 19, and we thought, right, we can do this. Now what do? We've got the van. How do we make this into a business. So lots of research on the internet, linking up with some networking groups, which that was quite painful because I think we found the pitfalls before the benefits.
Yeah.
But actually I now see that as a benefit in itself because I know what I'm looking for now.
Yeah.
Lots of people talking to you about your ideal clients, and it's like, well, my ideal client is someone that wants to do what I want to do. So how do I portray that? And the growth, I think, then of Campus of Distinction, which was Jeff's idea for the name of the business,
Yeah.
basically came from a very random element of, we do want to be that top-end posh camping, but not exclusive.
Yeah.
We want everybody to be able to enjoy them.
Yeah.
So that then impacted on how we marketed our pricing. And this just we kind of just rolled with it really as we
So
made
it kind
it
of
up as we
did
went
it.
along.
Yeah, you made it up as well.
Yeah.
But did you find it quite organic, even though you had the pain and the pressures?
No, it was still quite painful, I think.
Was it?
Because I think because I had read too much and I'd worried too much about how do we do this properly as business. The best thing we did was, and it was the first thing we did as grown-ups in our business and grown-ups in our life, was to actually ask who is the best person that we speak to do this. And I did that through the first networking company that I linked in with, which you're aware of,
Yeah.
with Startup Disruptors.
Yeah.
And they said, you need to get yourself an accountant. It's like, oh, that is a bit grown up. So we did, and she basically took us through what we thought was going to be more painful than it was, and she's taken that pain away from us, the lady that we chose.
Fabulous.
Because it gave us the opportunity to focus on, were we an independent company, were we a small business, how did it work? You know, we knew nothing on that side of it. So once that was done, it felt like, okay, well, this is actually got to be quite easy from here on in, and it has been. It's partly because of lockdown.
Yeah.
Weirdly, we went onto 2 platforms, a bit like Airbnb for camper vans.
Yeah.
Obviously, we only had Mr. Blue Sky in the first instance, so we launched in February 2020, and then we unlaunched in March 2020. When we got about 6 bookings at that point in the first month, going into 2020 summer, and then COVID hit, so everything stopped. The 2 platforms we've chosen, we've done quite a lot of research into that because we looked at them to hire. That's Camp 2 and Camplify, and they've both been fantastic.
How do you get onto those?
I'd looked one up. I'd looked up, where do I hire a camper van?
Yeah.
And Camp 2 came up first. And they're a company born in Australia, which gave us, I think, a bit more confidence in them, because they just do that in Australia. It's just the
it's
done
everyday thing, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
And all the other companies we looked at were, as far as hiring vans, were really big. And I didn't want, again, that corporacy of going to somewhere that's got, it's great that there are local companies with 20 brand new vans, but we were never sort of going in that direction. We micro business to small business. Personal touch, exactly that. And it is only ever going to be me and Jeff doing this with a little bit of help from family when we're travelling. So, so the pain started to sort of fall away from that, and we started to see how we could maximise the rental of the van at a sensible cost, because you can pay crazy money as well to hire some of these vehicles, including Dora, and being a 1970 proper T2 bay window. Beautiful. You see these going out for weddings and proms, and they want £400, £500, £600 for a day, and we said, well, I couldn't afford that.
No.
So why should that exclude me from wanting to hire something because somebody's charging a huge amount of money? So again, we think we've price structured to the ordinary person, so that they can get the benefit. And
I would totally agree with you. Very, very affordable. Very affordable. Yeah.
Which is exactly what we wanted. So thank you. It's our camper is your camper.
Yeah.
And I just love the Spanish element of that, laid back side of.
And it does feel like that. You forget that you've actually hired the van when you're in it and you're driving somewhere. I actually thought I bought it, it was going to be mine forever, but it wasn't.
No, you did have to give it back, and I
did
recall that wrangling of keys. But what's been lovely is that everybody said that as well, and I don't think we anticipated that. I'd like to think Jeff and I have got reasonably easyogoing personalities. We're quite carefree.
Yeah.
We've been given a review previously to say that we're very carefree but very caring, which I thought was amazing. I didn't even pay them to say that. So, and I think that's how we've come into managing Campus of Distinction.
I think also you and Jeff are very, very calming. We're all very friendly. absolutely hilarious, and I'd like to class you as really good friends.
Thank you, likewise.
I'm brilliant, and I'm going out next year as well.
Already booked.
Yes.
Yeah, one of my first 2021 customers. In fact, I think
2022.
you were my second 2022 customer from
Yeah.
2021. So
Can't wait. It's going to be absolutely brilliant.
I'm already excited about doing my Christmas cards for this year to customers.
Oh, are you?
So the pain
That's only a few months away.
It
Oh
is.
my god!
No, sorry, I did mention the C word, but obviously it's still autumnal
and it's pumpkin
well,
time.
It is. Yeah, so I think over the last year, and then when Dora came to us in the end of November last year, when we drove past and I fell in love with her really quickly. There's been a lot of work done inside, so we didn't actually get her functioning until March, April this year.
Yeah.
I found her more difficult to market because she is quite
Older.
yeah.
Yeah.
And whilst there is the element of wanting to take care of her, and I think people then maybe are afraid to drive her, so she's not power steering yet. That will happen. She is not an automatic gearbox, so I can't try. I've tried.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. She's quirky, but again, we actually do a full driving test around where we live because we've got that lovely yard area. That we can just say, that's just a little mini driving test. Let's make sure you're happy with it, and we've done that with everyone that's hired us so far. So
I love that. That's really good for health and safety, everybody.
good point, thank you. And again, there is that part of our previous life that come into it. We wanted to make sure that everyone knows they're fully insured. They're going to get breakdown cover, all part of it. There's nothing to worry about. We desperately hope neither of our vans do break down, but life happens. Neither have yet. Touch wood.
Touch wood. That's superstitious.
And they shouldn't do, because even though Dora doesn't need an MOT, she's still MOT'd. We get them serviced regularly. That's all done by local companies, which is great.
Yeah.
Breeze, VW van company, have been great when somebody had a small accident in her, and again, fantastic customers. They booked it in, they got her there the day afterwards and got it back to us in readiness for the next hire. I couldn't have asked for more.
No,
that is my ideal client.
And that's what's so crucial in your supply chain as a small business, is to have the two-way loyalty and that support, because I do my business purely because I never felt that there was enough support for small businesses and sole traders in a local space.
Yeah.
You have to go miles out of your way just to find someone to talk to or get them to listen to you. And I hope that in my business, with my support network and my services that I portray and give out to people, that I give that support, no matter whether you are a one person or whether you're a business with 35, 40 employees. That support network is absolutely crucial, and supply chain is really, really important.
Yeah, and that's become now part of our normal day-to-day routine, is managing forward and ensuring that you have got that supply chain and the people you know to go to. But equally, I think, and the words you use there, the support network, what I thought was important initially was network marketing and getting myself out there, and it's not.
No.
It's actually support networking, and that's far more crucial and needed. Because you're doing it all on your own, and we've both worked in teams before, we've both had that structure, and suddenly it was like, well, am I making this up as I go along? I'm doing this on my own. But I've actually got that support network with good, lovely people like yourself that I've met through support networking.
And that is important, and I think especially in small business, like we've discussed, other activities that we want to do together. It's not always about money.
No, collaboration. And it's fun to do that. It's uplifting.
And it's, I can help you can help me. It's absolutely crucial in small business.
Yeah, definitely.
And this is why we're doing what we're doing today. Which is absolutely fabulous. I love it in here. I don't actually want to go.
I haven't done it down. It's so cosy. I could actually just maybe we could even have a coffee whilst we were sat here.
Oh, we could. We could turn it round. We can get Jeff in, Mr. Campers of Distinction.
He's quite camera shy.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, a little bit.
Can we call him the Coffee Man instead?
We could call him the Coffee Man. Yeah.
This
So
is the
coffee
Man.
delivery.
He doesn't know about this.
He doesn't know.
But we're just going to move this and keep it on.
So coffee delivery, thank you so much.
Dobby has the coffees.
Dobby has the coffees.
This is Coffee Man with the coffee.
It may be edited, don't worry.
You're not
You're
in
off
it.
camera. No.
I'm not on camera.
Thank you. We have coffee.
Sadly not supported by a small local business, because that was the other thing I wanted to go
No,
into.
they're not that big.
They're not that big, no. They are a nice, smaller
They are a
coffee
smaller
business.
coffee
Yeah,
business.
definitely. They're not
They
your
are.
big chain people.
No.
There-
Oh, we have pastries too.
There is.
Oh, I
a
like this.
chocolate twist. One of these is, oh no, 2 chocolate twists. It's gone mad. One of those croissants is raspberry, and the other one.
He delivers. We
Isn't.
like to think we deliver on every level.
You certainly are today.
You choose what you want, Mr. Coffee Man, first.
I've taken a chocolate twist.
Lovely.
Go
Thank
back
you
to
very
my
much, Mr. Camper.
Perch over the water.
Wow. I need to do this again. I need to do this again.
Well, I
this
think we
is
might
incredible.
need to do another one
We
in
might have
Mr.
to
Blue
do-
Sky. So
Yes,
just to
we
share the
will.
love.
I think, and I think all of you will absolutely love Mr. Blue Sky. That's the one I've hired out. I've yet to have Dora for a few days, which I will.
You will.
I will. But let's go back to your pains to profit. So you got through all your pains. You're onwards and upwards. We all had to, and still are suffering to a degree with COVID, but
Yeah.
we just have to learn to manage and live with that. What have you got lined up for the future then? The next sort of 12 months of Campers of Distinction?
Really good question, actually, because we're sat in her. So Dora is, she needs to start paying her way, really. The biggest thing that we found with realising we will own Mr. Blue Sky quicker in its own right,
Yeah.
with the hire process going on, which means then once we do own him outright, what can we then do to maximise going forward? Then Dora came along, as I say, she was a bit of an unplanned child of the 70s from that point of view. And we just looked at her and said, you know what, I think she'll make an awesome wedding vehicle, especially more so for, you know, the groom to drive off his new bride into the
Oh,
sunset from the
definitely.
New Forest or the West
Yeah,
Country,
definitely.
wherever. And because where we're based, on, you know, right in the middle of the South Coast, you couldn't get any more middle, really, could you?
No.
I think we're just a great launch pad to go west, east. We've got Portsmouth on our doorstep for the ferry ports. Now, whilst Dora can't necessarily, well, she can go to France. There's no issues with that. But you need to maximise your. I keep using that word. You need to look at how your journey is going to be planned more with Dora. So I need for the next.
Well, it's
12
probably
months,
a little bit like taking a granny away.
Yeah, it is.
So
You
you
need to
have
be
to
a bit
kind
slower.
of a little bit slower and a little bit more planning involved.
But totally for what she was built for. In 1970, there were no motorways in
Yeah.
the way that we've got them now. There were no crazy, massive cars on the road, and you took life in the slow lane. And
And she actually makes you go back to that.
she does. She
Yeah,
makes you breathe
really
again.
Important though.
And she's super comfy. The 2 front seats are Porsche seats that were already in her. So what we've had done since we bought her is a super upgrade in marine quality upholstery. Because she was just a little bit untidy on the upholstery bit.
Yeah.
She's all original in her kitchenware. It's all very functional. We had to ensure that the gas bottle, for her purposes of hire, was secure. That proved a little bit difficult because we didn't want to drill through her bodywork. But do you know what? It actually became fun looking for the right people to do the job for you, and finding out along the way some of the people who didn't want to do the job for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I think that's also something in small business, that you have control of your supply chain, and you have and we're really lucky as small businesses to be able to choose who we really want to look and work with. For me, very much ethical people who are into trees and forests and keeping the wolves away, all of that, compliance and things like that. So for you, it will very much be care and attention, because Dora's one of your babies, one of your children.
Yes.
So you want her to be looked after.
we do, and I think again I want to say we've either been very lucky, or our marketing and friends and people that have shared our marketing are the right group of people.
Yeah.
Because the people that we've had come to us, who become clients, who become next clients, and then, you know, almost friends from that point of view, and chats around it, have already said they want to treat the vehicle as their own. So
Yeah.
they wouldn't, and you know, sometimes you could worry about that, because
Yeah.
you might have seen
Yeah.
the state of somebody's lounge when you popped round, or and you just think, oh, I'd rather you didn't treat it as your own. Actually, I'd rather you treat. But again, going back to we want you to feel it's your camper for your time in them.
Yeah.
And Dora offers still that comfort, that flexibility,
does.
but you've just got to plan differently than you would do jumping into Blue Sky and going, do you know what, let's just go, let's hit Cornwall in 4 hours time. You can't do that in this. You've got to plan, you've got to figure in your stops. She likes to have a rest after about an hour and a half, because she's an air-cooled engine, so you know, awfully designed, but sound amazing.
Still pet friendly, like Mr. Blue Sky?
Pretty much so, yes. And again, I think when we said pet friendly from the start, we wanted to be quite specific about who we wanted to meet the pet almost rather than the owner.
Yeah, I understand that.
So on doing that, you then know that the owner is going to still take that care.
Yeah.
Like you did with Mr. Blue Sky, we had no idea there'd been a pet in there at all when you returned him, which is amazing. So thank you.
That's okay.
Yes.
Pleasure. Means I can hire it again.
It does. Oh, totally. The one thing we've realised is, although the carpeting is original, we probably will replace the carpet in here because it's not as functional really to use.
Yeah.
You don't want to keep brushing out a carpet or hoovering. There is a hoovering. But we're probably going to put some nice vinyl down with a nice pattern that we've figured, and she's going to get some nice matching curtains to go with that, because these ones sadly have faded very quickly. But she's going to go forward hopefully to do. We've had a great couple of proms with her. I love dressing her up, and we've got lights for both proms and weddings, Mr. and Mr, Mrs and Mrs and Mr, the whole range. And yeah, I just love, I think in my head I've still got that we want to tie cans on the back, so the groom,
that was the picture I had in my head when
absolutely.
You talked about the wedding and the bride and the groom going off into their lovely honeymoon in Dora.
Absolutely.
Fabulous.
And I think, yeah, if I could get married again to the same man, obviously I would, and I'd do it in her. She'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I've yet to do that, so maybe that would be
I say again, yes,
but we don't know.
No, who knows?
Who knows what the world is what's gonna happen in this world, what will bring. Oh, it's been absolutely fabulous chatting to you, Lorraine. Just remember, everybody, Campers of Distinction, they are based in the South Coast, down in Gosport. That doesn't matter where you are, though, because I know that Lorraine and Jeff will accommodate all your needs, and all they ask in return is that you look after their children, which is Mr. Blue Sky and Dora. If you want to know more information, they have a website, don't you?
We do. info@campusofdistinction.co.uk.
Fabulous.
We have the Facebook page, Campus of Distinction, and our Instagram. I'm growing, I'm getting there. I've done my reading now.
I need to follow that. That's my support from my side of things, along with everything else. Not
amazing. So it's campers_of_distinction on Instagram.
Instagram, Facebook, website. You know all my stuff. You know where you can find this. This will be podcasted out on my website as well. And it will go out on Facebook, as you know. I'd love to say thank you for joining. Please leave your comments, and please message if you want to hire. Speak soon. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.